Move on to the Singapore Sports Hub, one of the iconic structures and locations right in Singapore. And next presentation is actually, of course, by Singapore Sports Hub. And the problem is actually an interactive digital concierge for an optimal experience-driven destination, right? So the problem statement is basically, how might the Singapore Sports Hub create contextually relevant digital concierge services to streamline and deliver the optimal visitors experience? So I'm just going to be inviting our guest speaker for the next session in just a short while, and he is Mr. Michael Henry. He's the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of the Singapore Sports Hub. And Michael was appointed the CTO at Singapore Sports Hub in 2020, right? He's recognized as a global thought leader in digital transformation and the future of work. And he's also known for actively driving change in areas such as experience-driven transformation, cognitive automation, artificial intelligence, data analytics, workforce strategy, and customer experience. And as a typical Singaporean, I can only say very chima. It looks like it's very amazing, CV. And of course, the Singapore Sports Hub is a fully integrated sports, entertainment, and lifestyle hub with programming that comprises world-class recreational and competitive events, as well as community events to serve children, youth, working adults, seniors, families, and less privileged population segments in Singapore and tourism sectors. So we're all very excited about this challenge from the Singapore Sports Hub. So it's my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Michael Henry, the CTO of Singapore Sports Hub. Welcome, Michael.
Great, thanks, Billy, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. Welcome to IOP 11, and very excited to share our challenge today. Let me just quickly share my screen. Everyone can see the screen okay?
Yes, we can see it.
Fantastic. So let me just quickly give a bit of an overview of sort of Sports Hub and the journey that we're on. So essentially when we were built, at the time, we were fitted out with the leading edge venue technology for that time. But obviously over the years, technology's changed and there's a lot more opportunities for us to start to engage at a more, I guess, a deeper level with our patrons and our event goers and our kind of fanatics that we have sort of actually kind of come to our events. So what we're really doing is we're wanting to accelerate our transformation, and we're really focusing on experience-driven transformation. So everything we're doing at the moment is focused on increasing experience of people who visit Sports Hub and how they engage with Sports Hub as well. So we're really looking at leveraging, the onset of 5G and the capabilities around that. Data is key to us, and obviously all the modern technologies that we have available to us now to really create a more immersive and interactive way that we kind of interact with everyone. And I want to sort of put that mark for everyone. So Sports Hub is for everyone, and the solutions that we do need to cater for a cross-section, of our community and be available at that level as well. So quick about Singapore Sports Hub. Billy, you kind of went into it a little bit at the start. We are a fully integrated lifestyle, sports and entertainment destination. We have a large campus, so 35 hectares. And we have clusters of the world-class facilities and venues. So, we cater from a large national stadium, which holds 55,000, to our indoor stadium, which holds about 8,000 to 9,000. And obviously, we are very hot for badminton and table tennis and sort of basketball as well. And our vision is to really be the stadium of the future, not just for Singapore, but for the region as well. And this is why we're going down the journey that we're going through now. So a little bit more about Sports Hub. We are synonymous with a national pride and the icon of Singapore. We do hold a special place in a lot of kind of people's hearts, and when they come here, they have that connection to kind of Singapore. And we do integrate well into the community. Obviously, we sort of helped out with the migrant workers as part of the COVID pandemic, and sort of going through a little bit more. I think one of the exciting things about Sports Hub is you get to train and play where the athletes get to train and play. So we do have a cross section of different people, and different sporting expertise that you may sort of bump into as well. So the pool that you swim in is the same pool that our elite athletes also swim in. And we've obviously gone through some engineering awards and so forth about just how we were architected. So let me jump into the actual challenge itself. These are available on the website as part of the brief. But essentially, we're really looking at a way that we can usher people from when they arrive at Sports Hub to their seat or to where they want to go. Now, we're not just talking, using the kind of map associated with Google. We actually wanting to do this a little bit better and to provide contextual awareness of the surroundings and what people are doing as well. So making sure that, the shortest distance may not necessarily, the quickest time to their seat may not be the shortest distance. It may need to take into account kind of crowd detections and so forth like that to really make sure that it's an optimized route to their seat. And we're really doing this to make sure that, we can control or we can give some power back into, the hands of people that sort of come to Sports Hub, of how they want to get to their seat and making sure that they can get there in the most safe and efficient way, especially as we welcome people safely back to events and safely back to Sports Hub in the near future or the future. The other one is really around redefining what it is to have in-person experiences here. So, there's a few things that we're looking at in terms of mobile ordering and removing the friction from being in your seat. You come to Sports Hub or you go to National Stadium for an event, you are wanting to see that event. So you may want to quickly go and get something to eat, to give you options, whether you can go to the actual stall, if you can order it online, pick it up from a pop-up, get it potentially delivered if that is the way that things go. And also, being able to do a few more things from your seat. So you don't always have to get up, right? So it's really making sure you optimize the experience. And the sort of last one we're looking at is to really see and understand where AR and VR can be used within the stadium. We are looking at different areas to focus on. And, I think an obvious one for us is our kind of VIP suites, because it's more enclosed and we can control some of the, environmental parameters that this would kind of work under. But this is really to try and understand what the art of the possible is in terms of augmented reality and how we can augment people's experiences through data and through contextualization to get even more out of the event as well. So just from an architecture and design perspective, I won't drill down in these too much. Most of the problem solvers on the call will sort of go through these, but obviously we want to leverage the onset of 5G. The problems or the solutions that you do should work under a variety of connectivity measures, but we are hoping within the sort of near future, as we start to push 5G out more, that we'll be able to do more around data and contextualization and provide that richer experience. Obviously, number two is around smart and accurate data capture, right? So here it's really around making sure that the data that we get, we use it efficiently to route people, or we use it efficiently to make things easier for people to do. So it's not just getting some data and extrapolating that, it's putting context on top of it and making sure that we can provide that really smart response back to the application that people can start to use. Cross-analysis capability is obviously making sure it takes in different contexts of things where people are. The app or the solution, goes without saying, needs to be intuitive, needs to be engaging, needs to be kind of integrated, reliable and scalable. We are talking about on peak 55,000 people being in National Stadium. This solution or these solutions will be used at some length within that amount of people. And we want this not to be a standalone sort of solution. We want to ensure that we can operate or interoperate into applications moving forward as well. So key things like API and kind of open frameworks are sort of key around that. And obviously, being cost effective as well. We want to make sure that, as we start to understand some of the constraints and the limitations of these solutions, what extra CapEx is needed around the stadium to facilitate this. At this stage, we are open to all ideas. We are not saying you must only use this, or, we won't think about that. It is, really having that modern approach to things. And this sort of brings me into our guiding principles that I want to sort of quickly touch on. We really want solution sort of problem solvers to be creative, modern, and really bring some of that kind of innovation mindset in there. This isn't about just wrapping an API from Google and saying, yeah, we've got a wayfinder about it. It's really understanding, how we can contextualize this and make something special, right? And really see how we can build something that has never been done. And we've tested the market. What we want isn't readily available to the level that we want it, right? So this will be a bit of a game changer. And this is why we're focusing this not just on Sports Hub, but on the sector as well, because we believe this will be a game changer. Look, the proposed solution should be as operational as possible. We understand that there'll be, some smoke and mirrors in the background, and, pilots always don't go to plan. But what I really want to see is I want to see ideas. I want to see the art of the possible. I want to see what hasn't been done before and how we can really leverage that and be excited by technology. Because most of us, in the tech world, we still get excited by technology, right? And with the modern way that we can do things now, we really want to focus on that. Sort of goes back into my previous slide around integration and smart data. You can grab all the data you want from sensors and CCTV cameras and, other kind of APIs, but data's noise until you know what to do with it. And we really want to make sure that we have a way to move from data to big data to smart data. And that smart data is what's actionable and what provides the direction to, the patrons or the application or whatever it needs from the upstream perspective. This is big for me. We need to design for diversity inclusion. So all the things around Sports Hub are designed for everyone. So all physical kind of capabilities, if it needs to take into account ramps and lifts and families, and really give people the option to kind of curate what they need, right? It's not a one size fits all. This is, what are my options? What type of person I am? What do I like to do? Do I like to walk upstairs? Do I want to avoid escalators? Do I want to do this? All that needs to be taken into account to make sure that it's as inclusive as possible for everyone that visits Sports Hub. And then goes without saying, secure by design, privacy by design. If we're collecting, data from people to help personalize their experience, as technologists, we have an obligation to make sure that we protect people's sort of privacy, and making sure that if we do collect personal identifiable information, that we know what to do with that, and the solution takes that into account. And the next one is around modularity is important, right? So we see this being the basis of something large, right? And we don't think that we need to do some big monolithic application that does everything. It's think about modules, think about how we would componentize things and have things interact with each other. And that's sort of a key part of where, I'm wanting to focus on this one as well. And then the last one is scale. This is, as I mentioned, we're, at a peak at NST, we're 55,000 people, right? So obviously there's some scale that the technology won't be able to cater for, like connectivity, 5G, Wi-Fi, and all that, right? So just assume that that's there. Yeah, we're talking about the reliability of the platform or the system or how it gathers information. So there needs to be a level of resiliency in there as well. So just again, doesn't have to be perfect, but what I want to see is that kind of art of the possible of how we would do that. So in the brief itself, we are offering $30,000 for this We are offering, to collaborate to really drive this forward, not just for Sports Hub, but for the sector as well, because it's important. I think that, some of what we're going to do here is going to be, like I said, a game changer across a number of areas. And it's very exciting to be sort of at the ground swell of that from there. So look, that's sort of all I had to go through for today. I will pause there and maybe we'll open up to questions if there are any. And over to you, Billy. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Michael. Very, very interesting presentation. Okay, we do have questions coming in, but I do have a question on my own because I was very, very fascinated by your comment on the modularity is important part. Because what happens is that I believe in your use cases that you shared in your problem statement, right? Your business challenge problem statement, you had 3 use cases and they cover quite a wide amount of users. So the first is a mother who goes to a monster truck event with her kids. The second one is Brian and his buddies going to a sporting event, a rugby event, and they want to use AR, in a very interesting way, right, to watch replays and so on. And the third use case you have was someone who's away from town, who's away because he's not in town for the concert, but he wants to enjoy the concert via a telepresence, application within your app. So how do you see all this, wide demands, right? How do they even come together in one, one application or one app?
Yeah, and this is where the kind of modularity comes in, right? I think if we start to think about, and I think this is pretty easy for us to visualize because we're all probably been to Sports Hub or we've been to an event or we have these type of things, right? So, in my mind, there's an application that I would open. It would be, a Sports Hub app, whatever it is, right? And then in there, I would have options, and these options are those modules, right? So I have an option to do a wayfinder. I click on, how to get to my seat, and that would, either have the wayfinder app inbuilt or it would go to a second type of subsequent larger app. But entry is through almost like a portal in my mind type thing. And then from there, I get to choose what I want to do and I get to have those different modules. When I also talk about modules as well, I think about data contextualization or sharing data between modules, because if I start to curate my experience and I put in there, my name's Michael, I like to walk up, I don't like to walk upstairs, I don't like to do this. I want that available across all the modules, right? So that kind of data consistency across them. So I see, that type of approach. But again, why we're coming to this forum is to get brand new ideas, right? It's to get the art of the possible. It's to get fresh thinking. It's, it's to understand where the minds of the future are seeing where we can take things. And really showing the pride of the technology ecosystem in Singapore. I mean, this is great.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael. I'm very excited by the phrase, the art of the possible. It's very exciting. I mean, I'm quite very keen, in fact, to see the results of this challenge. I'll see the kind of submissions that you will get. So, okay, we're gonna move on to the questions from the floor right now. And the first one is a very KPI kind of question that we all have to answer. Okay, Michael, does the Singapore Sports Hub have 5G infrastructure deployed and ready to use?
So we partner with StarHub. So we're currently talking with StarHub about getting in different proof of concepts around 5G. So obviously we don't have broad, 5G across everything, but, part of this, for testing around 5G, is we can put up 5G antennas, or we can put up some mobile 5G type of a approach. So as we go closer to, the problem challenge itself, we can start to test some of the concepts over 5G. And if you think about it, this should work. Most of this should work over any form of kind of connectivity. So from Wi-Fi to 4G to 5G in the future. So if we can work on 4G, right, 5G is just going to make it quicker and faster and a better response, right? So, that's sort of where we're going. We want to future-proof to make sure we can absorb and we can really take on any of the advancements around 5G and capitalize those on quickly, and making sure that we can sort of, drive the innovation thought around that.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. It sounds like it's a very exciting time to try new kinds of ideas for 5G applications. Okay, up next from Anonymous, it says, can you share more about the existing applications? I suppose referring to current applications that Singapore Sports Hub might have.
Yeah, so it's more the back-end sort of platforms that we've got. So obviously part of this, you're probably thinking, how do we help get people in there, right? So, obviously we have CCTV platform, and we have some IoT platforms, we have some other sort of areas that we sort of focus on. So it's more the kind of, what data that you would need to feed in to get your information around where people are. And again, I really want to reiterate, it's again the art of the possible, right? It's like, yeah, I can probably write my own application that can grab some CCTV cameras and grab some other things, right? But it's that sort of fresh thinking about how else would we gather intelligence and data of where people are, right? And how we would potentially start to use that data to direct people around. So one of the things that, I guess one of the questions is how much, I don't know, collaboration or input or kind of working relationships can we have with the problem solvers? And for me, it's reach out on any advice around applications, around platforms, around how we integrate. I'm setting this challenge up to be very kind of collaborative, to make sure that we set everyone up for success, and we want to make sure we get the best ideas coming in. So fully open to taking things offline of today to, exactly where people are thinking. If you do approach, come with a bit of a framework and some thoughts around how you can see things working. And then we can start to say, okay, we have this, we don't have this, and that type of scenario.
Okay, thank you, Michael. We have another question from the floor, and this is about, is Singapore Sports Hub currently collecting any data from the customer? And if so, what are the touch points?
Yeah, so we have touch points in our online booking system. We have touch points on our website. We have touch points in other areas. So we have a variety of different data that we can sort of, all of it's been anonymized. It won't be any identifiable information that you'll get, but there'd be some sample data that we can provide as part of this sort of process. So yeah, there's definitely data, but it won't necessarily be specific to individuals. It'll be in line with any of the PDPA.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And we have one more question from the floor, and this comes from Edmund. And Edmund is asking, does the Sports Hub have a digital twin? Very good question.
Yeah, that is a great question, right? No, if you want to build one as part of this, feel free. But that is definitely on our journey, right? So in terms of IoT, digital twins, understanding the kind of bridging the gap between physical and digital, that is part of our journey. I don't see the digital twin necessarily being needed for this challenge, but I'm open to ideas, right? And this is where I'm excited to work with the forum and the platform, because these are these ideas that I may not have thought before, and we collectively come up with something that's fantastic.
Yeah, and Edmund just came back and say he can build it, but not for free. So what do you think?
Yeah. Sure. So maybe that'll be the next challenge.
Okay, all right, thank you, Edmund, and thank you, Michael, for answering all our questions from the floor. So thank you very much, and we're gonna see you soon from another round of hopefully for another round of our presentations, Michael. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.